Welcome, everyone. Today, we're jumping into something I think resonates with a lot of us. How to really take the reins in our own lives. This discussion is brought to you by our YouTube channel, Audio Podcast.
Yeah, moving from feeling like life just happens to actively, shaping it.
Yeah.
What we've looked at isn't just theory, it's about practical disciplines.
Exactly. And the material we reviewed breaks it down into four, let's call them key areas, where making intentional choices can really shift things.
That's right, 4 M's, actually. How we talk the mouth,
Yeah?
how we think the mind, how we feel our mood, and how we manage resources.
Money. I like that framework. Mouth, mind, mood, money.
Mhm.
Simple, but covers a lot of ground.
It does. And the goal here is to unpack how focusing on these four can help you build a future based on, well, deliberate choices, not just knee-jerk reactions or what life throws at you.
Okay, let's get into it. The first M, mouth, are words. Sounds basic, maybe, but the research really highlights how much power or lack of it comes from how we speak.
Oh, absolutely. Especially speaking impulsively. When you're angry or feeling defensive or just frustrated.
Those moments when something just flies out before you can stop it.
Right. And the problem is, you can't easily take words back, can you? A thoughtless comment, especially when emotions are high, it can cause damage that lingers, weeks, months, sometimes longer.
So what's the counter? The research mentions something called the discipline of the pause.
Yes. It's learning to create just a small gap between feeling an urge to speak and actually speaking.
I can see people thinking that pausing makes them look hesitant or like weak, especially if things are moving fast.
It feels like that sometimes, but it's actually the opposite. Choosing not to react instantly, especially under pressure, that's real control. When you feel that rush, anger, frustration, that's your system kicking into gear.
Fight or flight.
Exactly. The pause is like hitting a mental brake. It gives the thinking part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, a moment to catch up with the emotional reaction.
So it's not just waiting, it's creating space for rational thought. What should we be asking ourselves in that tiny pause?
A quick filter, really. This is what I'm about to say, necessary. Is it actually helpful? Is it constructive?
Necessary, helpful, constructive.
Yeah. If it fails on any of those, silence might be the stronger move. Seriously. And think about it. When you do speak after a pause, people tend to listen more closely because they know it's considered, not just noise.
That makes a lot of sense. We all know people who seem to talk just to fill silence, and it kind of waters down everything they say.
Right. It dilutes the impact.
What about complaining? That's a specific kind of careless speech. People often do it to vent, feel better maybe, but the material suggests it's actually counterproductive.
Hugely counterproductive. Venting rarely solves the actual problem. What it does do is reinforce this feeling of being powerless, like a victim, in your own mind. Every complaint sort of strengthens that neural pathway.
Wow, okay, so you're literally training your brain to feel stuck?
Pretty much. Purposeful speech, on the other hand, shifts the focus, even if it's just slightly, towards solutions, towards agency.
Yeah.
And watch out for those absolute words like, I always mess this up, or things never go my way.
Because they cement that negativity.
They do. You got to consciously try to edit those out. It's a habit change.
That link between what we say out loud and our internal state, that's a perfect bridge to the second pillar, the mind. Because controlling that inner chatter, that constant stream of thoughts, feels like a huge challenge today.
It really is. Especially with, phones buzzing, notifications popping up constantly. Focus is almost a rebellious act now.
And the research says it's a skill, right? Not just something you either have or don't.
Exactly. It's a muscle. You have to train it. And often, you need to start with the environment. If your desk is chaos, if your phone is constantly demanding attention, your mind's going to struggle to settle.
Makes sense. So practically, what's a first step? The research mentioned mindfulness.
It did, but not necessarily in the, sit on a cushion for an hour way.
Right.
Think smaller, like a 30-second reset. When you sit down to tackle something important, just take half a minute.
Right.
Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the sounds around you. Just acknowledge the task ahead without judgment. Then gently start. It's like a tiny anchor in the present moment. It signals to your brain, this is the focus now.
I like that. Microdosing mindfulness. What about multitasking? We all think we're good at it.
Yeah, we do.
Mm.
But the evidence is pretty clear. Multitasking is mostly a myth. What you're really doing is rapidly switching your attention back and forth, context switching.
And that costs energy.
It does. Each switch burns a little mental fuel. It leads to more errors, less deep focus, and ironically, it usually takes longer overall.
So single tasking is the way.
For building focus, yes. Prioritize ruthlessly. Block out time for one thing. Turn off the alerts just for that block. It trains your brain that focused effort gets rewarded.
But okay, even with distractions off, you've still got the internal stuff. The
Yeah.
negative self-talk, that I'm not good enough loop. What do we do with that?
That's huge. First step is to really internalize. A thought is just a thought.
Yeah.
It isn't necessarily true, especially negative ones. They often come from our old survival wiring, always scanning for danger.
The negativity bias.
Right. So the trick is to catch them and interrogate them.
Interrogate your own thoughts? Sounds intense.
Maybe a little, but it works. When that automatic negative thought pops up, I'm going to fail this, you challenge it. Ask yourself, okay, what actual concrete evidence supports this? And maybe, would I ever say this to a friend?
Usually the answer is no, you wouldn't, or the evidence is flimsy.
Often, yeah. It really weakens the thought's grip. Then you consciously reframe it. Instead of, I can't do this, switch it to something like, okay, I haven't mastered this yet, but I'm capable of learning, or this is challenging and I'm figuring it out. It shifts you from feeling stuck to seeing possibility.
That's powerful. And what about getting stuck in analysis, overthinking everything before taking action?
Ah, yes, analysis paralysis. It often feels productive, like you're being careful, but really, it's often just a way to avoid the risk or discomfort of actually doing something.
So how do we break that cycle?
Set time limits for decisions. Seriously, make them non-negotiable.
Like what kind of limits?
Depends on the stakes. Maybe the 5-1-5-60 rule. Trivial choice, like lunch, 5 minutes. Medium choice, which project a start, 15 minutes. Big decision. Give yourself a hard deadline, maybe 60 minutes, to gather info and then commit to a path.
Wow, just commit.
Yeah, the goal is forward movement. Acting on a decent decision is almost always better than getting paralyzed, waiting for the perfect one that never comes.
That idea of commitment, of action, leads us right into the third pillar, mood. Because like you said, overthinking impulsive words are often driven by emotions we haven't managed well.
Exactly. Mood management isn't about not feeling things. Emotions are vital information, they're signals. But they make terrible bosses. Mastering your mood means creating that crucial space between the feeling itself and how you react to it.
Okay, but in the heat of the moment someone cuts you off, you get bad news. How do you physically create that space? It happens so fast.
You use your body to calm your mind. Grounding techniques. And the simplest, most powerful one, breathing. Intentionally.
Take a deep breath.
A few slow ones. Specifically focusing on making the exhale longer than the inhale. So breathe in for, say, 4 counts, hold briefly, then breathe out slowly for 6 or 8 counts.
Why the longer exhale?
It activates the vagus nerve, which basically tells your nervous system to shift gears out of that high alert fight or flight state and into a calmer rest and digest state. You're using your breath to manually downshift your stress response.
That's fascinating. Okay, so you've calmed the physical storm a bit. What about the lingering feelings like real anger or deep frustration?
Then you dig a little deeper. You look for the belief that's underneath the emotion. Anger, for instance, often isn't just about the event itself. It's usually about some unspoken rule you have about how things should be that just got violated.
Like getting mad in traffic. The rule is, people shouldn't drive poorly around me.
Or even just, traffic shouldn't exist when I'm in a hurry. It sounds silly when you say it out loud, right? But that unrealistic expectation is often the real fuel for the anger.
So questioning the belief itself takes the power out of the emotion.
A lot of it, yes. When you recognize your internal rule isn't universal law, that the world doesn't revolve around your expectations, it shifts your perspective. You move from feeling wronged to just observing reality.
Okay, and how does this emotional control apply when facing bigger challenges, setbacks, obstacles?
It's about directing your energy wisely. The biggest trap when facing adversity is pouring energy into things you absolutely cannot control, like what already happened or how other people are reacting.
Focus on what you can control.
Precisely. Your mindset, your effort right now, your next step. That's it. And if the whole problem feels overwhelming, which it often does,
Break it down.
break it way down into the smallest possible actions. Then just focus on step 1, nail that. Then look at step 2. It stops that feeling of being paralyzed by the sheer size of the thing. You use your emotional energy to move forward step by tiny step.
That's incredibly practical. Okay, we've hit mouth, mind, and mood, mostly internal game. Let's move to the fourth M, money. How does the same kind of discipline apply to our finances?
It applies directly. Financial well-being isn't usually about getting lucky. It's about disciplined habits, rooted in a particular mindset. And the big shift the research talks about is moving from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Can you unpack those a bit?
Sure. Scarcity mindset is driven by fear. Fear of not having enough. It sees money as limited, something to be hoarded, protected. It often leads to avoiding good opportunities out of fear of loss and just generally a lot of worry.
And abundant.
Abundance mindset sees money more as a tool, as energy that flows. It's rooted in opportunity and value creation. It doesn't mean being reckless, but it replaces constant fear with strategic thinking and seeing possibilities.
Right. So getting the mindset right is step one. Then what are the key behaviors, the disciplines?
Two main ones stand out. First is intentional spending. Getting ruthless about impulse buys that are driven by, feeling bored or stressed or wanting a quick hit of pleasure.
Distinguishing wants from needs.
Clearly. And a super effective tactic here is the waiting period.
Like the 24-hour rule.
Maybe even longer for bigger things. Try 48 hours or even 72 for any non-essential purchase over a certain amount, say $100 or whatever feels right for you.
Why does that work so well?
Because that initial urge to buy is often tied to an immediate emotional spike. Give it a couple of days, the emotion fades, and you can look at it more rationally. You'll be surprised how often you realize you don't actually need or even really want it anymore. Saves a fortune over time.
That alone could be huge for people. Okay, so that's controlling outflow. What about the other side, increasing income? How do we apply intentionality there?
It comes back to value. You have to understand that income generally follows the value you provide to others, to the marketplace. So the single best investment isn't necessarily stocks or crypto initially.
It's investing in yourself.
Exactly. Investing time, and yes, sometimes money, in learning new skills, getting certifications, deepening your knowledge in a valuable area, that compounds like crazy. It increases your earning potential and makes you more adaptable. Your skills and knowledge are your greatest assets.
That makes sense. Anything else on increasing income?
Yes, networking. The material really emphasizes this. The best opportunities, the high-value ones, often don't come from just applying online. They come through connections.
So building relationships.
Building real, mutually beneficial relationships. Providing value to people in your network first. That's key for uncovering opportunities and advancing your career or business. It takes conscious effort.
Wow, okay. So much there. We've covered the mouth speaking with purpose, the mind directing focus and challenging negativity, the mood managing emotions, responding, not reacting, and money intentional spending and value creation, a really solid framework.
It really is. And, stepping back from all the details, the research leaves us with a pretty powerful final thought to chew on.
Oh, what's that?
That real, lasting personal power doesn't actually come from achieving some kind of perfect control over these four areas. Perfection isn't the goal.
What is it?
It's the quiet discipline of just showing up, of making consistent, even small progress in these areas, day in, day out. That steady effort is what truly shapes your future.
Consistency over intensity. I like that. It feels more achievable. It's about the daily practice, not some mythical state of perfection.
Exactly.
Well, that's a great place to wrap up this discussion. Thank you so much for listening in.
And we hope you'll subscribe to the YouTube channel, Audio Podcast, for more conversations like this.